Go.
Hi, Daisuke.
Hello. Yeah. I'm gonna start this recording. So this is the Team AI channel, and I invite interesting guests from AI industry, blockchain industry from all over the world, and talk about topics every week. So today we invite Drew from Vancouver.
Thank you very much for having me. We actually had a chance to meet last year in the summer, and that was great.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the meetup in Shibuya. So thank you.
Yeah, you came to our study group.
That's right.
Yeah, in the summer, right?
In
a
the
long
summer,
time ago.
that's right. It was, I guess, beginning of first week of August.
Mm-hmm. So
first
you
week of
lived
July,
in Japan.
sorry, first week of July.
July, yeah. You lived in Japan, right? You speak Japanese.
少し喋るんですけど、
いいですね。
私の日本語よりも大輔さんの英語はほとんど上手だと思います。
Yeah. For how long have you lived in Japan?
I was there for 1 year on a working holiday, but that was, that was almost 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah.
Yes.
How was your experience?
It was great. I had a really, it was my first time actually ever traveling. First time going anywhere, and I went on my own. And my purpose in Japan was to experience a different culture, different language, different lifestyle, to see life from a different perspective. So I went on a working holiday visa, and my only requirement that I thought for a job, I thought, okay, I'll try any job, that's fine, but there has to be only one requirement, which is it must not have anything to do with English. I just want to try and live like a normal Japanese in Japan.
You worked in Japanese language?
Yes.
Okay. So, which kind of job? IT job?
No, actually, it was a little bit challenging to find a job that had no connection with English. So it took me a little while, and I kind of researched. Back then, a way to find a job was through kind of newspapers or magazines. And so initially I went to Osaka, and there was a magazine called Kansai Time Out, or Kansai Time Out.
That's famous one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I looked at that, and I found an advertisement for an okonomiyaki restaurant in Himeji. So I ended up, I went to Himeji and worked in okonomiyaki-yatan, Naofuyaki. It was really great. I did that for about 3 months, and then I moved to Tokyo, and there was a Japanese rock band. They were doing a tour inside of Japan, and they actually hired me as an assistant tour manager. So I was able to help with, calling and scheduling the hotels or wardrobe, make sure that wardrobe went from one city to another city, make sure all the band members woke up at the right time, or some of them, they had a girlfriend in the UK or some other country, so they wanted to wake up and schedule some phone calls. So I handled most of that and some logistics.
Wow, is that part of Time Out business?
No, actually not related to Time Out. Just I found the advertisement for the okonomiyaki restaurant.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and a really good chance to see Japan and see the culture and learn some of the language.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then you went back to Canada, and you've been doing IT business for a long time.
Yeah, actually, I ended up, I went to Korea for a long time, and I was.
Korea.
That's right.
So you speak Korean too.
Yeah,
right?
I think now my Korean's a little bit better than my Japanese, but both I can speak not too bad conversationally, but I don't speak it every day now, so I'd need some time to pick up again. But in Korea, one of the things that I did that I found very fun was in 2006, TOEFL the TOEFL test introduced the TOEFL IBT, or the internet-based test. And so I was a director of online education for a English school that also produced its own materials and books and online materials. And we developed the first in Korea online TOEFL practice test.
TOEFL practice. What do you mean by TOEFL practice?
So when the TOEFL test changed to the IBT, or the internet-based test.
Sorry, English test. Yeah,
that's right. Test of the English as a foreign language.
Yeah, I was thinking TOEFL. Yeah.
Oh, TOEFL.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we also produced material to study writing and speaking, and the online parts of that as well. And this is back, in 2006. It was still pretty early days. We didn't have the type of tools to have real-time sort of data analysis and things that you might have engagement with your students. It was just before, kind of just before iPhone and smartphones started coming to Korea at the time. So now we could do much more interesting things, I think. But anyway, so we did that. I was there until 2011. Came back to Canada from 2011, and I've been back in Vancouver since 2013.
So you have a IT developers community in Vancouver, right? With 5,000 people.
Yeah, we have actually a very interesting space. So Vancouver, I don't know if you've ever been here, but an interesting thing about Vancouver is it's I guess a medium-sized city. And it has some nice things to it, like mountains or oceans. But the community is really, it's kind of difficult, I would say, to know where everything's happening. When I grew up in Vancouver, and I always thought of the different communities as being what I call pocket cultures. So there's this community that exists, but unless you're a part of that community, you might never know that it exists. And it could be there's a door in a building, but no signs to it, but you open that door and wow, there's 400 people talking about some really interesting topic that you're interested in, but you wouldn't know unless you're part of that community. And so when I came back to Vancouver after having spent some time living in Japan and in Korea, one of the things that I really wanted to do was sort of connect to that community and develop my roots, strong roots, and help to open up those doors. So to say, oh, you're interested in AI, or you're interested in machine learning. Well, did you know AI and machine learning are kind of the same thing? So let's open up the doors together and work together. Or at the overlapping sections of where something like blockchain or something like VR or AR, where those connect with automation and artificial intelligence, or even other things like, I'm looking for information, doing a search, where that connects with, I searched this, then I searched that, so I'm looking for that, where that connects with something like AI. We have these different, I guess, segregations on the one hand of technology, but other things, community, food, whatever we want to call it. But whether those are real or not, oftentimes I think it's a matter of, opening up those doors, and you can really help to develop and be part of that community. So that was a number one priority for me when I came back, was to really be a part of the community. And one of the things, HackerNest, I've got to mention HackerNest. It's actually a worldwide organization. And so I'm the Vancouver lead organizer for HackerNest. And when you're young, maybe you're in kindergarten, for example, probably everybody in your kindergarten class, and you get a little bit older. Elementary school, for the most part, we're kind of the same age. We're experiencing similar things. Middle school, maybe even high school, gets a little bit bigger, but we're aware of a lot of people, but we have different circles. But by the time we get to, let's say, university or get into a company, if you join a small company or a large company, well, it becomes a very different sort of society, because when you start to work in a company, then your pool of friends are the friends you maybe the friends you grew up with, but now they're busy with their companies and you're busy with your company. So then it becomes a small area in the company. But even in that company, everybody's a little bit different. You know, you have different positions in the company. Some people are older, some people are younger, different interests. And it becomes really difficult if you're, for example, if you're the only technology person, you're the IT person or the programmer in a small company and everybody else has a different job. When do you get to talk about technology? When do you get to talk about that? So HackerNest is kind of that community, the community of technology people for technology people. If somebody comes from Japan or if somebody comes from another city, like Toronto in Vancouver, one of the first meetups they should go to is HackerNest because that's a group of peers. And so we usually get about 100 to 200 people per meetup. And it's just a social event where maybe we have some drinks and talk about technology with each other. But that's really our monthly event to have the community get together, talk about what's happening and get to know each other. It's a very, very comfortable experience. And we do that in different technology offices in the Vancouver core.
Oh.
Yeah, so you get a chance to see what's happening as well.
Is there HackerNest in Tokyo?
I believe that the meetup is there, but I don't think it's actually, I don't think anybody's hosting it yet. So if somebody wants to be a part, if somebody wants to organize and actually get that going, then by all means, maybe send me an email, drew@hackernest.com. And we can talk about sponsorship and about how to get that off the ground.
Okay. So how big is the event happening in Vancouver? Because in case of machine learning in Tokyo, we have maybe 100 to 120 events per month.
Oh wow, that's a lot of events.
Each event, I think big one has 100 people coming. Yeah, big capacity. So how about the size of the community in Vancouver?
So for HackerNest, it kind of depends a little bit on the event. We have a little over 6,000 members in Vancouver, but 6,000 now. But we also have Toronto and New York are our two biggest. Vancouver's the third largest at the moment, but Los Angeles just came on board a few months ago and is growing pretty quickly, and other places around the world. So it does depend a little bit on the event. If we have a social event, like I said, we usually get around 100 to 200 people. But also we have hackathons. We'll partner up with government or other organizations sometimes and do hackathons. Currently there's one going on around the globe called the Fish Hackathon. And this is a hackathon to help, we currently, we're not necessarily being the best to the environment, including the oceans and the fish. And we do also have fish farms and other things, but what can we do? How can we get involved with technology? How can we solve some problems for the world's fish? So we have a